What's up, doll collectors, hobbyists, fabs, and besties? I'm Toya, an adult doll collector. Welcome to my miniverse. Have you watched K-Pop Demon Hunters on Netflix? I watched it, I loved it, I'm singing the songs. And today, we're gonna try to make an inspired wig using yarn, a plastic bag, and glue. But first, let's take a piece of black poster board and make a quick backdrop. I printed out a picture that my dad took of a city at night. I cropped it into 3 parts, trying to stretch all the way across the poster board. Let's put a little glue on the back, then attach them to the poster board. I fold it at 15 inches, glue on more poster board for a floor. I cover it with wood grain paper from the dollar store to make a room with a view of a city. Now we need to make a little stand where we can work. I have a few rectangles of wood I bought at Michael's. It measures 7 inches by 2 3/4. I have a few wooden dowels that are 12 inches long. I use my miter shears to cut it at 7 inches. I use hot glue to glue it onto the rectangle of wood. I glued the shorter one on as well, and we're ready to go. Let's take Barbie Fashionista number 214 and remove her head. I place the doll in a plastic bag, then into a cup of hot water until the head softens and can be removed. Ow. We can place the doll on the stand and cut off her hair that we can save for possible future projects. Then let's scrape out all the plugs on the inside. I use tweezers to remove them to give us a bald head. And now we can start on the wig. For my base or wig cap, I usually use fabric. But last night, I did a quick test run with a plastic bag and hot glue. Not the best, but it was definitely a little easier to control, so let's try again. There are a lot of different ways to make miniature wigs. I enjoy the process of trying to figure it out, and I'm a firm believer in doing whatever method makes you feel most comfortable. I grabbed a plastic bag out of my kitchen. I place it on the doll's head, then firmly wrap a hair tie around it. That doesn't look disturbing at all. Using my hot glue gun, I begin adding a thin layer of glue on top, using the nozzle to smooth it out and lay down any parts that I need to be a little flatter. We are working with hot glue, so, you know, hot glue is hot. You've been warned. And the plastic might melt, so keep that in mind. For me, as long as I keep the nozzle on the hot glue and not the plastic, I can minimize melting. And I use a cordless hot glue gun, which cools off a little while I use it, so it's not super hot all the time. Once it's cool, let's carefully cut it right along the hairline. Since it's clear, we can easily see the lines. But if you're worried about cutting the doll, you could always draw the line, then remove the plastic from the doll before cutting. Once the extra plastic has been cut away, we have a clear cap. I can remove it and it holds its shape. It's pretty thin and I just quickly check it for any gaps. I place it back on the doll. I used a tiny touch of hot glue to help hold it in place. If that makes you nervous, you could always make your doll wigs on a spare doll. I haven't had any trouble so far, so I'm gonna keep going. When customizing, there is always a risk that you can ruin your doll forever. You have been warned. Again. Let's take yarn and cut a piece. I carefully unravel it, pulling the strands apart. I turned on my curling iron and I gently straighten the strands, taking care not to pull them apart. So we get these long pieces that I'm going to glue onto the wig cap. I'm using quick dry tacky glue, but before we start gluing, let's prep a few more heads, like Barbie Fashionista number 224. Fold her and make our hot glue wig cap. That was definitely faster. I have navy blue yarn. Let's cut it, unravel the strands, and straighten them just like before. Let's use a You Create Barbie basic head. We don't have to bald her because she comes bald. So this doll doesn't have a hairline, and I had to make one myself. I hope that looks all right. Let's prepare pink yarn. I pulled apart a few and straightened them. I used a little paint for guidelines. And let's paint a few guidelines on this one for bangs and a center part. And now we can start gluing on the yarn. And yes, we can straighten more than one piece of yarn at a time. I'm thinking that we can just glue the yarn on, gluing the yarn, going down, leaving the ends loose, then we just pull it up and braid it. Let's give it a try. I use a paintbrush to apply the tacky glue, then add the yarn and brush it down with more glue. I have the yarn going from the center to the edge. I divided the head into 4 sections, then I just keep dividing them. Slowly working to cover. Now I'm just working on filling in each section until all the edges are covered. I haven't brushed any of the loose yarn. All of it is just hanging from the doll's edges. While gluing, I did notice I was getting a little point at the top of the head, so I had to make adjustments as needed to reduce bulk. Now we just have to allow it to dry. It's been a couple of days. It didn't take a couple of days to dry. It actually dried pretty quick, but I learned I'm not great at braiding. I thought I was going to be able to take all of this yarn and just braid it and be done. But I just don't have that talent to be able to braid it so that the braid's on the outside. I can only braid it on the inside and it's just not the right look. So I take a small section at the front and we're just going to set that aside, then pull the rest of the hair up and glue it at the top. I'm using hot glue so we don't have to worry about drying time. I work in small sections and glue them in place. Now we have a ponytail. Now this I can braid. So we're just going to divide it into 3 parts, then braid the ponytail. I secured the end with a little glue. So we got our braid, but we needed to start here, and we need a little bump. So I carefully cut it off, tie it with a piece of yarn, then let's fold over the end and tie it again, making a ball on the end. Trim and glue any bulk if needed, then make a hole right after the knot. Pull a loop of yarn through it, place it on the doll's head, pull the bangs through the loop, then pull the yarn to feed it through the braid. Now we just have to position everything covering the sides, glue down the loose yarn from the bangs under the braid, trim off the excess, then glue down the braid to cover it. And we got a pretty decent wig, I think. I have a thin gold-colored wire. I wrap a piece around the end to cover the glue as neatly as I could. Let's do the dark blue wig next. I add a little glue to where the bangs are going to go. Then I take a small piece of yarn, place it right in the glue, then carefully apply more glue just in that area. Then allow it to dry. Then I flip this side over. Holding it at the top, I gently separate the yarn. I separate it so there's 2 pieces on the sides. Then let's trim it to make those bangs. I think they could be a little shorter, but I'm just gonna leave it for now. Let's glue yarn around the edges of one side of the head, stopping in the center so we'll be able to get a center part. Once dried, let's pull it into a ponytail, then braid it, trim it, and make a bun, using glue to hold it in place. And now we can repeat on the other side to make a Zoey-inspired wig. I think the buns might be a little high, but overall, not too bad. For all of these wigs, the process is pretty similar. We're just covering small sections with the yarn, trying to stay within the lines and the edges so we can pull it up to make ponytails. For this wig, I left a little piece out by the ear and some out on top. Then I set it aside and repeat on the other side. So the front is pulled up into 2 high ponytails, and then we have hair hanging down on the sides. I brushed the ends of the yarn. Alright, that's looking pretty decent. Now we just need to add some more yarn to the back. So let's add a little glue and the yarn, just like before. I focused on the edges and then combed out the yarn very carefully. I hot glued small pieces of yarn and carefully combed it out. And I'm gluing it in the open areas where the yarn is already slicked down, so we can just fill it in and make it a little more full. Then spend a little time styling and trying to hide any little glue mistakes to finish our 3rd inspired wig. So here we have Rumi, Mira, and Zoey. Since they're wigs, we can place them on any of our You Create Barbie basics, and with the stand, we have a place to store our extra heads. My Glinda is on a petite You Create Barbie Basics body. When not in use, I can place her head on the stand, then take the head that I want and place it on the body, get her dressed in some comfy clothes, and give her a journal so she can write a few songs. Let's give Mira an oversized shirt with a cute graphic for a quick, comfy, cozy look, and for Rumi, let's do fun pajama pants and a hoodie. I loved this movie, and now I love that our dolls have K-Pop Demon Hunter inspired wigs. And we have a stand where we can store our doll heads and wigs. Thank you for joining us. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram and YouTube at MyFroggyStuff and Bella of MyFroggyStuff on Instagram. And we will see you next time.